Now for Donald, we're only drawing out his face. So I'll begin right there in the center of my page with a circle. Keep in mind this should be at the top of your page or the bottom because we need to draw out his bill and also that hat right on top. So right there in the center, about the size of a circle, or about the size of a circle, about the size of an orange, let's draw in a circle. So I like to get my entire arm moving to get a whole bunch of these light, messy lines. Don't feel like this needs to be perfect, folks. We're definitely going to reshape these lines later and really adjust them as we go along. We do want to add in some lines to make sure we're placing everything in the right spot. So right down the center, I'll add in a construction line. And then toward the bottom of your circle, from left to right, I'll add in another guideline. So basically, Donald Duck's bill will be placed just below this line here. His eyes will fill a lot of that circle space here, and then the hat sits right on top of that circle. So let's get started with that bill first. I'll begin with the corners of his mouth, which start right where that line strikes through your circle here, from left to right. This is the corner of his mouth, and then this line that comes off of the circle, this is Donald Duck's bill, coming out toward us. So that's what that length is for here. So these look like little boomerangs going out here on either side. So that top portion will be his smile. His bottom piece here is definitely that bill coming out toward you. Now, the Donald Duck's bill is very much like a baseball cap. It has a curve to it. So we'll see that for the curve of Donald Duck's smile here. Just underneath each boomerang here, this doesn't connect to this, not yet. We'll draw out what looks like a bridge that goes from one side to the other. So I start off here with a whole bunch of these messy lines. I can bring this forward. This should look like an unraveled wire hanger as we bring this all together. So I'm just drawing out a curve here to connect that. So at this point, it looks like we've just got that blank bill, but this is actually up a lot higher. It's coming out toward you. So by adding in another curve right here, we'll go ahead and add in front lip here. Adds a little bit more depth to your sketch. Now seeing those little corners of Donald's mouth, we can add in his smile lines, these little creases. You've probably drawn these before. Many of our characters here at Animation Academy have them, and in the cartoony world too. It really helps to frame up the character's smile, make them look a lot more warm and genuine. Well, that needs to be a part of the bill, so we don't want to leave that out in the open. So we'll draw in a curved line that comes from that center guideline right here. This pulls right up and over, and just lands right on top of that lip here. So it looks like you've got a little bit of this upside down letter U. This is going to help us draw in that lower bit of his bill, where we'll see the opening of his mouth. And I'm bringing that right on top here, and closing that off. So very lightly, we've added in a lot of dark lines here, and added a lot of focus here to that bill. We want to get back into that light sketching mode. To open up Donald's mouth, we want to pull that from the smile. So just underneath here, I'm pulling down two diagonal lines, and then the two lines underneath, that is going to create the opening for Donald's mouth. So I'm adding in a curved line here, and the lines I want to stand out will be below the bill. So right underneath here, I'm just darkening this in and making that stand out. This is the inside of Donald's mouth. We can go around one more time here and just close off the rest of his bill just by following that same line. And to show that that's the inside of his bill, we can add in his tongue, which is just a small letter V here. If you want to even add a little bit more focus, you can add in a little bit of shading using the side of your pencil. This is super optional though, not super necessary here. But at this point in our sketch, we are about halfway done with our drawing. I'll go ahead and pause for a moment. How's everyone feeling out there so far? All right. How about this? Are you having fun? Good. That's why why you're here. You're gonna have a good time. This is not about getting a perfect drawing. Well, let's keep going. The next step, you'll really start to see Donald, and Donald will start to see you. We'll draw in those eyes. It's very central to a character, is expressing what they're thinking and feeling on the outside without really expressing anything from their mouths or without any dialogue. So here we're going to draw in 2 tall ovals very lightly. How lightly? Very lightly. You don't want to darken this in just yet. And they're filling a lot of that space. You might even go a little bit outside that space too. But this just gives me a rough idea of how tall his eyes will be there. The way that Donald is designed is that he is a very extreme character. You see that in his eyes. They're very wide, or they're very closed if he's very angry. So it really allows that wide range of expression for him. But before we finish up those eyes, let's close off the rest of the bill. So in between here, I'm drawing out a little hill. Basically, what we've created is a stretched out W here, or like a roller coaster track. And what we have are these nice little pockets that Donald's eyes will sit in and rest in. So from the top portion of our oval, that's what we really want to keep. So don't worry about that bottom piece for the oval. We're just going all the way around, closing off that top piece and bringing that forward. So this is where you're choosing one of those lines that you really want to stand out and making that nice and dark here. Now, like I said, those eyes are very important as far as conveying what the character's thinking and feeling on the inside. So you can personalize your sketch of Donald and really tell your own story. What's happening here? You can draw in hearts there, or stars, or swirls, or even if you want to draw out the whole entire scene in that small space and create a reflection of the background of what he's looking at. You can really make your sketch look very interesting here. You can even place his pupils wherever you like. These are just some smaller ovals, which you can place up, down, 2 different directions. It's really up to you. Right here, I'll have him looking back at all of you. And to really create that focus, I want to make sure that I'm drawing out an entire shape, that entire oval. If you end up drawing only a part of this oval toward the center, if you're following along with me, he can tend to look a little cross-eyed. And to avoid that, you just go back in there and draw out that entire shape. Now, a little cheat in animation is that for cartoon characters like Donald Duck, these pupils dart in and out of that eyeball space more so than, say, princesses, and it allows them to create that focus here. So I'm just making sure that that stands out here for Donald, even if I go a little bit outside of my circle space. Now, all we need to do is close off the rest of Donald by adding in some lines here. So I'll start off with those brows. These are going to be right over the eyes and follow that same curve. And this pulls right off of our circle here. So I'm going right up and over here, following that same curve, and then doing that same thing on the other side. Usually the higher you place these, the more excited and happy Donald's going to end up looking. Then he has some feathers in between his brows here. You don't need to add a whole bunch of these. I'm only going to add a few. Coming down here. And Donald also has some feathers all over his head and some over his cheek, but we don't draw each individual feather. It takes 24 drawings in traditional animation just to get 1 second of animation. So when animators can, they like to streamline this process as much as possible and save on time and resources. So over here in the cheeks, even though this is feathers, we'll just draw out a curved line. Just a little line here. Curves right over the cheeks. And then the back, this is the only part of our circle that we're keeping, the back of Donald's head. This is going to curve right here, just behind the brow. So we've got one that curves over here on this side, and then another one on that side. So this gives us the complete face for Donald Duck. Now the last thing we need to add in will be that hat. But you're free to sketch in any type of hat out there. If you want to draw a baseball cap, I see a Stitch hat, Mickey Mouse ears. You can really have fun stylizing your own sketch of Donald. But as far as for me, I'll teach you how to draw in that special sailor hat that he typically wears. And usually one side is a little taller than the other. So I'll start off with that hat band. Over here on the right, that's going to stand up just a little bit higher. And then this will pull down as I go over to the left. So let's start off with that smaller piece first. Right behind the brow, I'm adding in this small little C curve. This is that smaller end, that's furthest away from us. And the one that's a little bit taller is going to pull right underneath here, and this is a stretched out letter U. And this also gets placed right behind that brow here. So we have this, what looks like just this big, huge, giant bean on your page to create that pillowy top for his hat. And of course, you need to add in that hat band. So I'll add in 2 curved lines, and then, of course, a little hill on the inside. And that's it. That's everything you need for your very own rough sketch of Donald. Now is the time for you to go back in there and do the cleanup work. This doesn't mean using an eraser and erasing those lines. It means going back in there to see if there's anything that looks a little faded that you need to touch up, and you add in those darker lines to pull that forward. So go in there, double check your work, see if there's anything that seems to be neglected, but everything's looking pretty good. Go ahead and find a spot next to that and sign your name, because you've just drawn your very own rough sketch of Donald Duck. Huzzah! Pretty anticlimactic. How did we all do out there? Good. I hope you had a good time. Now, this is a great time for us to share our artwork. Whether you're finished or not, or you think it's not the greatest, this is not about trying to find the best drawing, but to share and see how different everyone's drawing turned out. Okay, we're all different artists with a unique style. So let's see how you do on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see some Donald Ducks out there. Nice job over here. Oh, we got Mickey Mouse ears over here on the right. Looks great. Ooh, that is some spooky Donald. You know, well, it's still placing the eyes, I see, but it looks great from what I see. Dollar bill sign. Nice up at the top. Ooh, nice shade work over there. This looks great. I've got to say, you all certainly did a great job, and you definitely graduate from Animation Academy. Give yourselves a great big round of applause. Congratulations. Take that drawing off the board. That is yours to keep. I'm going to give mine to this lovely couple over here in the 3rd row. Happy birthday to you, sir. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful time here at Disney California Adventure. We do have another class coming up in just about 15 minutes. We'd love to sketch with you, but if we don't see you, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone, and class is dismissed. Bye, folks.